lot of good things were happening. A lot of culture, a lot of music, a lot of theater. So, historians often depict it as the golden age in English history, so the best time. This is going to be on your life work, but I also just wanted to tell you beforehand, in the Elizabethan era, education was mostly for boys in the upper and middle class. So if you were poor, or if you were a girl, you did not get an education. The only time girls got an education was if they were royalty, if they were queens, kings, princes, princesses. The second thing is apprentices are unpaid workers who got trained in a trade or craft. So for example, if you wanted to be a baker, you would have a master, and then you would be their apprentice, so you're learning. Kind of like maybe you guys are my apprentices. You're students to learn more about reading. So if you've ever seen The Apprentice, like Donald Trump, that's an example of modern day apprentices. Everyone silent track Christian? Christian?
Like the Emperor in the Darth Vader movie.
Perfect. So if you've raised your hand if you've seen Star Wars. Thank you for that example. So if you know Anakin, he's the apprentice for Obi-Wan. Good. Okay, teammates, sorry, no time. Gotta read the book. We're gonna start our new book called The Shakespeare Stealer. During your exit tickets, I will collect your money. So make sure when we have our exit tickets out, you take it out then. Get it?
Got it.
Good. When? When will I collect money? Good. Fun fact before we start. Did you know that The Shakespeare Stealer is a book series? So there's actually 3 in the series. Our first one is The Shakespeare Stealer. The second one is The Shakespeare Scribe, and the last one is The Shakespeare Spy. So, before we start, I want you to lock it up with a partner. What do you think these words mean? You got 1 minute. Go. What do you think these words mean? From the pictures? Track me while I'm speaking. For 100%, silently tracking me. Wellness tracking me. Mars tracking me. Nathan tracking me. Thank you. Who can tell me what does pitch mean? Based on the picture, I know you might know a different version. Brianna, what do you think pitch is? I'll give you a hint. It looks like it's something sticky. What's something that you know that's similar to pitch? Hazael. Gum, similar to gum. So when you read pitch in the book, it's something that's really sticky, something like gum. For the second one, it's called expediency, and I have a cartoon. I'm Expediency Man, because nothing erases evil faster than looking the other way. So I'm going to tell you this one first, so we have time to read our book. Expediency is maybe you're doing something that's the quickest, that's the easiest, that's the most convenient, but it may not be the best choice. The best choice. The correct choice. So it may be easy, but it may not be moral. The third one, raise your hand if you ever had that experience when you're at parent pickup and your parents are late, and you kind of feel sad because your parents aren't there on time. You feel neglected. Just give me a degree sign if you've had that experience. Hands down at a level 0. Last one. Raise your hand if you know what it means to be overburdened? What do you think it means on the picture, based on the picture? At a level 0, silently track Caesar. Emily's tracking Caesar. Miranda's tracking Caesar at a level 0. What do you think it means, based on the picture? Do you need to ask for help? Who do you pick? Pick someone. Victor, what do you think overburdened means?
Like being tortured.
Being tortured? Maybe you have so much on your shoulders, I'm going to add on, that you have too much to carry. You're overburdened. You're feeling like you're under a lot of pressure. You have a lot to carry. Teammates, while I'm speaking, you need to be at a level 0 silent tracking. Check your stance. Wait for 100% to be tracking. Wait for 100%. Turn off the chatter. I'm still waiting for you to be tracking me. If you're not tracking me, while we're reading this book, we're going to be seeing these words. This is every day for life word, and before we start lessons, we're gonna get some vocabulary. Okay. We're going to look at chapter 1, and the first part of chapter 1, I want us to take notes on which is thoughts, his words, and his actions. What are we looking for, class?
Thoughts, words, actions.
Good. And for the first part, I wanted to use an audiobook because I can't do a British accent. So hopefully you enjoy, and then I will finish it up. Get it?
Got it.
Good. Thumbs up if you're on page 3.
What? 3. I'm on page 3.
Thumbs up if you're on page 3. Solali has her thumbs up. Jaime has a thumbs up. Christian has a thumbs up on page 3. Share, please. Wait for 100%. Page 3, chapter 1. Do not read ahead. Follow along with the book. Take notes as you hear. Get it? Get it? Good.
I never knew my mother or my father. As reliably as I can learn, my mother died the same year I was born, the year of our Lord, 1587, the 29th of Queen Elizabeth's reign. The name I carried with me throughout my youth was attached to me, more or less accidentally, by Mistress McGregor of the orphanage. I was placed in her care by some neighbour. When she saw how small and frail I was, she exclaimed, "Oh, the poor little pidgwidgeon." From that unfortunate expression came the appellation of Widge, which stuck to me for years like pitch. It might have been worse, of course. They might have called me Pig. Of my life at the orphanage, I have made it a habit to recall as little as possible. The long and short of it is, it was an institution, and institutions are governed by expediency. Mistress McGregor was not a bad woman, just an overburdened one.
Go ahead and take notes in your journal. Is there anything you noticed? Anything that Widge is thinking, saying, or doing? What have you learned? What have you learned? Where does Widge live right now? Write it down at a level 0. Kristen's at a level 0, Luke is at a level 0. Brianna's at a level 0, writing it down into her journal. 20 more seconds. What is he thinking? What is he thinking? He's thinking about where he lives. So where does he live? We're back in 5, 4, 3, good. 2, and 1. Thumbs up if you're on page 4. page so I can give you a chance to take notes. Thumbs up if you're on page 4. Diego has a thumbs up. Janet has a thumbs up. Jaime has a thumbs up. Page 4 on occasionally, hands down.
Occasionally she lost her temper and beat one of us, but for the most part we were not mistreated so much as neglected. The money given us by the parish was not enough to keep one child properly clothed and fed, let alone 6 or 7. We depended mostly upon charity. When someone felt charitable, our bellies were relatively full. Otherwise we dined on barley mush and wild greens. When times were hard for others, they were doubly so for us. It was the dream of each child within those dreary walls that someday a real family would come and claim him. Preferably it would be his true parents, who were of course royalty, but any set would do, or so we thought. When I was 7 years of age, my prospects changed, as some say they do every 7 years of a person's life. The grand climacteric, I've heard it called. That orphan's dream suddenly became a reality for me. The rector from the nearby hamlet of Berwick came looking for an apprentice, and thanks to Mistress McGregor's praise, settled on me. The man's name was Dr. Timothy Bright. His title was not a religious one, but a medical one. He had studied physic at Cambridge and practiced in the city of London before coming north to Yorkshire. Naturally, I was grateful and eager to please. I did readily whatever was asked of me, and at first it seemed I'd been very fortunate. Dr. Bright and his wife were not affectionate towards me.
Take notes. 30 seconds. Go. Anything else that you've learned? Any thoughts, words, or actions that he has done? Anything he's thinking? So far they're only thoughts, so you can write in the thought column. Tell me, what is an orphan? What is an orphan? Which is an orphan? What is that? Silent track, Miranda. Yeah, so maybe an orphan is actually just a person who doesn't have any parents. So the parents didn't necessarily put them there. An orphan doesn't have parents. So what is an orphanage? You can tell me what an orphanage is. Victor?
It's a building where they keep children. They don't have no parents.
Yep, so the orphanage is where they keep the children. So on this page, we learned that Widge lives in an orphanage, and it's his dream to get out of the orphanage. He really wants to leave the orphanage. Based on this text, it says, every 7 years of a person's life, the grand climacteric, I've heard it called. So something good happens every 7 years of their life, called the grand climacteric. How would you describe the grand climacteric? Raise your hand. What is another way to describe that? Kimberly? Actually a big event that happens every 7 years. It's like a big event, something that impacts your life a lot at that time. So a grand climacteric, think climax is like a big point. And this will be on your life work too, so wink, wink, hint, hint. Last thing. So, who is Widge's new master? Did anyone catch his name? Doctor Who? No. Doctor Who. Silent track, Sergio. Dr. Bright. So Widge's new master is who? So that means Widge is going to leave the orphanage and live with Dr. Bright. Thumbs up if you're ready to move on for page number 5. Good. Hands down. We're starting on page 5. Dr. Bright and his wife were not affectionate toward him. Thumbs up if you're there. Great.
place to sleep at one end of the apothecary, the room where the doctor prepared his medicines and infusions. There was always some potion simmering over a pot of burning pitch, and one of my duties was to tend to these. The pitch fire kept the room reasonably warm. I took my meals in the kitchen. Though the situation was hardly what we orphans had secretly hoped for, it was more or less what I had expected, with one exception. I was to be taught to read and write, not only in English, but in Latin. And not only in Latin, but also in a curious abbreviated language of Dr. Bright's own devising. Charactery, he called it. It was, to use his own words, an art of short, swift, and secret writing, by the which one may transcribe the spoken word as rapidly as it issues from the tongue. His object, I soon learned, was not to offer me an education so much as to prepare me to be his assistant. I was to keep his scientific notes for him, and to transcribe his weekly sermons. I had always been a quick student, but I was never quick enough to suit the doctor. He had some idea that his method of stenography could be learned in a matter of mere months, and he meant to use me to prove it. I was a sore disappointment to him. It was an awkward system, and it took me a full year to become reasonably adept, and another year before I could set down every word without begging him to speak more slowly.
What is Widge learning? What's the name of that secret language that he's learning? What's that name? Shout it out. Yeah, charactery. So charactery is a secret language that as fast as I'm speaking words, he's able to write it down in a secret language. Okay, thumbs up if you're on page 6.
Take notes.
No, you created a little secret language. Thumbs up if you're on page 6. Students on page 6.
Wait, is
Adriana's on page 6.
Is that supposed to
Adrian's
go
on
on
page
the
6.
word? Is that
That
supposed
can
to
go under thoughts if you, or actions. Either he's thinking it or he's doing it here. Hands down, page 6. This vexed him. This vexed him. Wait.
This vexed him. For once his ample mouth was set in motion, he did not like to stop it. To his mind, of course, the fault lay not with his system, but with me, for being so thick-headed. I never saw him write anything in this shorthand himself. I'm inclined to think he never mastered it. As I grew confident with the system, I began to make my own small improvements in it, without the doctor's knowledge, of course. He was a vain man, because he had once written a book, a dry treatise on melancholy. He felt the world should ever after make special allowances for him. He had written nothing since, so far as I knew, except his weekly sermons. And, as I was soon to discover, not always those.
I'm going to continue. When I was 12 and could handle a horse as well as a plumbago pencil, the doctor set off to neighboring parishes each Sabbath to copy other rectors' sermons. So, Dr. Bright ordered Widge, you need to go copy other people's speeches. So he's sent off to copy. He meant, he said, to compile a book of the best ones. I believed him until one Sunday when the weather kept me home. I sat in on Dr. Bright's service and heard the very sermon I had transcribed, which means copied, at Dewsbury a fortnight before. It did not prick my conscience to know that I had been doing something wrong. We were given much instruction in right and wrong at the orphanage. As nearly as I could tell, if you're not following along, it's a -2. Right was what benefited you, and anything which did you harm was wrong. My main concern was that I might be caught. I had never asked for any special consideration, but now I asked Dr. Bright, as humbly as I could, to be excused from the task. He blinked at me owlishly, as if not certain he had heard me properly. Write down an action that Widge has been doing. Give you 30 seconds. What is Widge doing? That action. Write down that action.
Who's Widge? Oh.
Our main character is Widge. Thumbs up when you have the action. Thank you, Ismari, for that thumbs up. Ten seconds left. Luz has her thumbs up. Finish writing an action in your journal. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands down, we're on page 7. Thumbs up if you're on page 7, then he's scratched. Then he scratched. Page 7. Thumbs up if you're there. Honey has her thumbs up. Brianna has her thumbs up. Lucero has her thumbs up. Waiting for 100% to be at the same place. Then he scratched his long red vein nose. Thumbs up if you're there. Waiting for 100%. 5, 4, 3. How about a teammate? 2. Thumbs up. And 1. Hands down. Then he scratched his long red vein nose and said, "You are my boy, and you will do exactly as I tell you." He said it as though it were an unarguable fact of life. That discouraged me far more than any threat or show of anger could have done. And he was right. According to law, I was his property. I had to obey or be sent back to the orphanage. As Mistress Bright was fond of reminding me, prentices were easily come by and easily replaced. In truth, he had too much invested in me to dismiss me lightly, but he would not have hesitated to beat me, and heavily. There was a popular saying to the effect that England is a paradise for women, a prison for servants, and a hell for horses. Prentices were too lowly to even deserve mention. Eventually, our sermon stealing was discovered. The wily old rector at Leeds noticed my feverish scribbling, and a small scandal ensued. Though Dr. Bright received only a mild reprimand from the church, he behaved as though his reputation were ruined. As usual, the blame fell squarely on my thin shoulders. My existence there, which had never been so much to begin with, went steadily downhill. As I had so often done in my orphanage days, I began to wish for some savior to come by and, seeing at a glance my superior qualities, take me away. So Widge got caught copying a sermon, a speech. Now he's in big trouble. He wishes someone would take him away. In my more desperate moments, I even considered running away on my own. As I learned to read and transcribe such books as Polinshed's Chronicles and Raleigh's Discovery of Guiana, thumbs up here on page 8, hands down, I discovered that there was a whole world out there beyond Yorkshire, beyond England, and I longed to see it with my own eyes. Up to now, my life had been bleak and limited, and it showed no sign of changing. In a new country such as Guiana, I imagined, or a city the size of London, there would be opportunities for a lad with a bit of wherewithal to make something of himself, something more than an orphan and a drudge. And yet I held no real hope of ever seeing anything beyond the bounds of Berwick. Indeed, the thought of leaving rather frightened me. Thank you, Angelica, for taking notes. I was so ill-equipped to set out into that world alone. I could read and write, but I knew none of the skills needed to survive in the unfamiliar. Perhaps hostile lands that lay beyond the fields and folds of our little parish. And so I waited and worked and wished. If I had any notion of what actually lay in store for me, I might not have wished so hard for it. I'm going to give you 15 more seconds to finish up your notes. Thank you for that thumbs up. Thank you, Maya. And 1. I want you to discuss this. You don't have to write in your journal. Discuss these questions with a partner. So first one, summarize what has happened to Widge so far. How is Widge treated by Dr. Bright? And then, based on the reading, do you think Widge is happy? Yes or no? Give you 1 minute to discuss with your partners. Go. Good. Discuss with your Back. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Who can tell me what's happened in Witch's life so far? Ava. Silent track, Ava.
First of all, he was
Hold on, wait
adopted.
for 100%. Mariah's tracking Ava, Brianna's tracking Ava. Go for 100%. Okay, go.
First of all, he was adopted by Mr. Bright at the orphanage,
Mhm.
and then Mr. Bright told him that he had to go write down the speeches, and so he told him that he wouldn't copy the speeches, but he overheard one of the speeches being like copied or something, and
Perfect.
he wants to run away because he's in trouble and doesn't want to get like caught.
So give me a thumbs up, teammates, for number 2. Is Witch treated good or badly? Well or badly? Thumbs up if he's treated well. Silently thumbs down if he's not treated well. Can someone give me evidence? Why is he not treated well? How do you know? Caesar?
Because it says in the book, don't know what they it says in the book that he had
If he doesn't follow instructions.
if he doesn't follow instructions,
Yeah. If he doesn't follow instructions, he gets beaten. And then for number 3, thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up, do you think he's happy? Thumbs down if you don't think he's happy. Why or why not? Why wouldn't you think he's happy, Christian?
because he says that yes,
Yeah, he wants to leave. He wishes someone would pick him up and take him away. So, our daily focus question, just checking, talk to your partner. Will apprenticeship, being an apprentice to Dr. Bright, will that give Witch a better life? Tell your partner, yes or no? Okay, teammates, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I want you to go ahead and clean your tables, get ready for your exit ticket. Take out money if you have money for your book.
Today was her last day of
Okay, teammates, at a level 0 and try. At a level 0 and 4. Entering level 0 and 2. And a level 0 and 1. Alice at a level 0. Timmy's at a level 0. Victor's at a level 0. Next score that here is -2. Make sure you write your name, date, college, bubble in 920 and your student ID. We got 4 minutes left. Make sure you bubble in